Hello, welcome to Jarviskjir Mind Over Matter, Ian.
Hello.
Okay. Me and Ian were playing some deft mind games before the start. And I don't really think either of us won in the context there, but I definitely feel like I lost. Welcome to Jarviskjir Mind Over Matter, Chapter 2, Episode 11. Unless the last episode was 11, in which case this is 12. I don't know. I'm sort of lost track. We are going to continue where we left off last time with Ocean going off into the Machinist District and encountering a big nasty. But I will briefly show, mostly for the VOD boys and people on YouTube, that this has come in the mail. And I'll probably talk more about it later when there's more people around, probably after the first break or so. So, why don't we talk about what happened last week? So, you guys defeated a starving giant, which sounds like it wasn't a big deal, but it was. Although Bogdan really basically soloed it, which was pretty badass.
I resent that. Y'all did stuff.
No, you all did stuff. But, you know, Bogdan was in the mouth of the giant, you know.
That's fair.
Literally. I had a nightmare like that.
Did I give you nightmares from the giant description last week? If so, that's definitely inachievable. After that, you returned back to see that Skarhain Kolgarn, the king of Abanir, was moving and shaking, doing all kinds of misdirection politics, and you looked into it and found out that actually his claims are correct. There was a usurper of prisoner in the Machinist District, and Ocean went to investigate with Harren Hall and Catcher Al. There you met the leader of this strange, shadowy workshop, and went down with them into the dungeons, and found out that this prisoner was someone that Ocean doesn't know. But Ocean wants to protect, but also kind of be like, hey, stop being a bitch, and I'll give you grace. Etc, etc. Yeah, don't be a bitch.
It's pretty much the mantra of my life.
Someone that none of our characters know, but Ian knows.
Yeah.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
You need that on a t-shirt.
The prisoner was then broken out of jail by Lethura Dawnebb, complete in her form as a fell lich. But Ocean managed to hide up on the ceiling. No one ever looks up.
My question, Ollie, is what does she smell like?
Lethura?
Yep.
Well, right now the room smells like incredibly strong acid because of the
oh yeah,
the cloud acidic cloud kill spell that she used. So
I can't believe the indignity of you nearly KOing me. Just the insult of that.
We are playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I almost killed a player with a horse kick.
So. Yeah. Well, to be fair,
horses are pretty.
That's how horses do.
Horses do kill people with the kick. Yes.
Horses kill people.
When you sit down for a D&D game, you don't think I'm gonna die to a horse kick.
At the same time, I would definitely remember if a character died to a horse kick, especially if you deserved it.
Well, I have died to a door before in D&D, so
yeah, but that's just you, Ian.
But you got better.
I got better.
You got better.
You got better. It doesn't count. Final death only.
Is that a challenge?
No. No.
If Ashar's either gonna die in a really, like, nothing way or a very bombastic way. And it's been that way since episode 1.
Yeah.
That's basically the plan. At this point, Ian is planning the heroic sacrifices.
You don't realize
No,
I
good for
plan
not
heroic
heroic.
sacrifices for like all of my characters, apart from maybe the ones that actually have family, which is like 2 of them.
That's the secret. They've just got to have a family, and then Ollie will kill off the family.
I have
you
not killed off any
No.
of Ian's family members other than one.
I'm gonna.
Like,
look
I think
behind
Arvine
myself
had
every
a
time I leave
mentor
the
dad
house now.
figure.
Oh yes,
But that didn't
Arvine-
really count.
Yeah,
that wasn't really
that
relevant.
sort of didn't count. Yeah, Yulia's family are all alive. They're just like being slightly creepily watched by Baba Yaga.
Grandmother watches.
I
Anyway,
don't go
sorry,
out
let's
of
carry
my
on.
way to kill the family members of PCs. What kind of DM would do such a thing just to cause trauma? What would you be mad about?
Jacob feeling called out.
Excuse themselves.
Regardless, Oshun nearly fucking ate shit and died. But you survived via hiding with Ketcha'al, but you don't know what happened to Harrenhal. Moments ago, Lathura teleported out of the dungeon with Tanuma Beres in hand. You can look behind you, Oshun, and you can kind of see the kind of greenish yellow fog of the spell still like cloying to things. It's one of those like heavy hanging fogs, but the like spell itself is mostly dispersed. And also kind of the crackle of arcana and almost a burnt circle awkwardly imprinted on the tight dungeon. It's like on the walls, it's on the ground from the teleportation, seemingly. Along with that, you have Ketcha'al in your arms. There is also Rofi down below, the head engineer here, who is in their backpack, basically turned into a little shell, like a little hermit crab shell, and they're just like a dome on the floor right now. Why you say, oh fuck Rofi? What's wrong with Rofi?
I thought he'd fucking ate it.
Nah,
I forgot to catch him.
You say what's wrong with him, but this is, Oshun saying fuck somebody. So.
Rofi is, well, who knows what's... Rofi is Rofi.
Rofi?
So, is that Oshun kind of calling down from the ceiling?
Yes,
from
the ceiling.
You can kind of just hear... Now that everything kind of goes quiet again, aside from kind of groaning coming from upstairs from multiple injured people, you can just kind of hear muttering from inside the dome. Like, not... Kind of like panicked mantras.
Okay, I'm going to drop down, ting ting on the top of it, and just say, "Get a medic!" And then I'm gonna go through the building and spare as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah, I'll say that's
They're gonna
definitely
catch
possible.
these hands, but they're gonna feel better for it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because there's a lot of people who are in that exact situation where they're kind of like they've been either hit by Lathura's spells or
Question: do my spider feats also contain healing properties?
Yeah. It doesn't. Your hands do. Have you not seen Doctor Strange? Your hands do not matter for magic.
Oh. In that case, have you ever seen a daddy longlegs try to
Just all
get
the
out
limbs are like trying to reach different people and tend to them. Yeah.
Just the soft path of a spider foot just against an unconscious cheek, and it's like but they feel okay.
Yeah, well, a lot of the people everyone in this engineer's workshop were Darklings. You haven't really encountered Darklings much before Oshun, but you would have at least a vague recollection of their name and species existing. They are a member of the Treaty of the Deep in a weird way. And so a lot of them have, like, their equipment burned off and stuff, which is why you actually saw one basically melt outside. Darklings are allergic to light to the extent that they will die if exposed to it too much, which is something Lathura just used.
Yo, same.
Yeah, I mean, They're just millennials, I guess. But so you can spare a lot of them, and they can kind of like groan and start like putting back together their equipment. One of the injured people in this main workshop, of course, is Harrenhal, who likely might get more specific attention from you. Her shield.
Let me cradle you in my horrible spider hands.
Oh yeah, she probably ain't okay with that. If she were conscious. Her shield has been ripped in twain, as if she held it in front of her, and there is basically a burnt puncture hole through the armor into the chest. You can get there and you can spare the dying.
Yeah.
She's still not great. She doesn't, well, spare the dying doesn't bring people to consciousness either, but she's still not in great situation. Spare the dying will spare people, but it won't stop the need for surgery or greater healing, which Harrenhal will likely need.
I've got a, do you want me to roll?
If you want to use a healing spell, sure. She has a hole in her chest, so it would need quite a bit.
Oh gosh. Okay, well if I can give her like maybe a few points until I get her to a real doctor.
Or use a higher level cast.
Or a high level cast, you know what? That's a good idea. I mean, what else am I going to need it to for? It's not like Ollie's going to plan some kind of, I don't know.
The Lich has left the room, Zoe.
The Lich has left the room.
I mean, to be fair, if the Lich was still in the room, I don't think that spell slot would be much use anyway, but...
So, if I hit Cure Wounds or Healing Word, is it going to ask me what
Yeah,
level?
at last level on the screen.
Okie dokie. Ah, yeah, you're right.
You might as well
let's do it.
use Cure Wounds, because Healing Word is the ranged one that heals less.
Sure. Level 3. Poof.
Okay, 16 points of healing is definitely enough to, you know, Harrenhal's already stabilized after suffering this magical wound, but that was enough to kind of bring her enough strength. I've described before, you know, the invaluable purpose that magical healing has in the field of war, in that it closes a wound, you know? It stops the wound from bleeding out, it kind of patches up the necessary things, any blood veins. I was like, blood pipes. I couldn't get the word. Any veins or something that were severed in the area, like fused together, stuff like that. This is definitely still going to be a wound that is going to scar unless, you know, even greater healing. But she does kind of gasp back into proper life, and will, with a big dwarf hand, just grab onto your probably waist.
No, Ian.
Not on this show. Maybe on After Dark.
After Dark. Did you mention if the church has like a hospital wing, or is there a different
yeah, it would. No, it definitely would, and you would have been aware of it. I believe in this culture it'd be definitely sort of the place where the hospital, the cathedral manages infirmaries around the city. So there might be one in this district, or you could rush her to the cathedral ward quickly to get her to the central of it.
Yeah, I'll get her there. I will run to that, and I'll probably like put the spider legs away, because like I don't imagine spider legs would give me like any advantages.
Well,
using the character sheet.
Well, how long does spider climb last? Because you've already used it.
I think it lasts an hour.
So you could basically start off this sprint,
yeah, all right.
scuttling over buildings. Right?
Yeah, all right.
While
I look down at Harrenhal and I just say like, hold on to me. I'm low-key Spider-Man.
But it's
what's wrong with anything low-key about you?
Yeah. And you can start vaulting over the machinist district buildings.
There's nothing low-key about me.
Which is, and like, obviously, Spider Climb is a very useful spell in the Underrealm. You know, you can easily cut corners and rush Harrenhal to the Cathedral Ward where there are enough people who know about your predicament and existence, Ocean, to not immediately assume that you have killed them, and this is like a serial killer coming to announce their kill. Yeah. So they will, you know, rush.
It's a delicious Harrenhal.
They'll grab Harrenhal on like a gurney and rush her to the infirmary, and then immediately to a more secure ward.
Do I still have speediness?
Nah, that would have won.
Spider climb? No. I might cast it again in that
You
case.
can only
to
do
get
it
back.
once per day, unless you can do it with your cleric spells.
No, it's a Drider thing. It's not.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
cleric.
it's a dry. Well, I was gonna say, unless you can somehow get it on your cleric spells, it's a Drider thing. You only do it once per day. I remember making this. You could do it once per day, so you would have used it on the way there, and it would have run out like as you were getting to the cathedral, right? Which is fair.
In that case, I will just be big and doosh, doosh, doosh through the dwarf city to
back home.
Alden's,
Yeah.
crib.
As in, you're being large and in charge. And you don't care about traffic
being
rules.
Large, doing the woman in a crowd thing, squaring my shoulders, looking a little bit background pissed, and making eye contact with.
Do you know what that's called?
Who's gonna look like they're not gonna move.
That is a social phenomenon called gaze, and you can use it to your advantage when you're traveling through a crowd. It's not just an angry woman thing. It's an angry. Well, I guess if I do it, that's maybe not the best argument. But it's a social phenomenon called gaze, where if you essentially, subconsciously, the other person will want to get out of your way, and you can use it to get through a crowd easily by basically just kind of tensing up and not necessarily even looking at people, sometimes even looking in front of you, like at the floor, does it. So that's a thing. That's a real thing.
Cool.
That you could try at home.
Like breathing more fully into my chest, not like puffing out your chest, but like breathing so that you take up more space, like doing the posture thing.
I'm sure subconsciously that triggers, you know, the animal brain. That's what it's all about. It's all about the animal brain. Yeah.
She does the gaze and douche, douche, douche.
Well, you're also a giant spider.
I'm also a giant woman.
You got the hey, I'm walking here, you know, etc., etc. But you can basically storm your way back to Bogdan's compound. And
if I get like any I'm walking here, I'll just gently touch them with my spider leg, and they'll be like, "God!" Like, move out of the way. Oh.
What's that? No.
Yeah, just throw open the saloon doors.
We just had those installed. Kick open
She's
the doorway to the breakfast nook.
Except it's spider legs, so it's dish, 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 dish. She's back.
I think you guys were back home. You know, you kind of sent Oshun on this mission alone. Well, with Catch Owl. Who is there? Catch Owl is fine as well. Actually, I guess you couldn't carry both. Catch Owl probably just came back instead of going via the Cathedral Ward, now that I think about it.
It's very funny. Just the idea of Catch Owl being like, okay, bye.
You pick up big woman and leave, and Catch Owl's like, okay.
Oh,
Just starts just walking home alone.
No. I want to put her in my pocket.
You can't carry all of Catch Owl.
You can put one of her in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
I put the biggest and fattest.
No, because that would disperse the swarm. There's a logic to the rat swarm here. No, she walks home.
Rat bone's connected to the rat bone. The rat bone's connected to the rat bone. The rat bone's connected to the rat bone. It's rats all the way down.
So Bogdan Ashal, Ashun has returned home. Actually not looking injured, but looking like she ran. Which does look like you're injured, I guess. At a certain point.
Yep.
You have news?
She's back!
That statement does not enlighten me of anything.
Wait, I've got to remember what this bitch's name.
Really doesn't narrow anything down. No. Wait. You mean that bitch bare chest?
No.
Oh.
Stop that. So, I went and I talked to the prisoner, and she was this mad scientist looking dark elf. Deep elf?
Dark elf.
Dark elf.
Usurper elf.
Both are correct. Yeah.
And we had a conversation, and she seemed... Anyway, we reached some kind of an understanding, I think, and then at that moment, there was fighting in the hallway. I stuck to the ceiling and took up our friend Catch-Al here, and she came back. Luthura broke her out, and I nearly died, and then everyone was injured, and I dropped her off at the hospital, and I came here.
You dropped who off at the hospital?
Bare chest. Harrenhal? That one? They're all this. This is what happens when I don't have my notes in front of me. I was like, I don't need my notes today.
Harrenhal would not like being mistaken for bare chest for a whole lot of reasons.
Mostly because she's a never nude.
Yeah, Harrenhal is a never nude. Yeah.
Okay, got my notes. Significantly shamed into never being without my notes ever again.
Well, did you find out anything useful from the prisoner before they were broken out? You said you escaped to the ceiling. You do not look injured.
No, I barely escaped though. She disappeared in a puff of noxious vapor, and it was very close, but I am a good climber. This woman,
I don't know if you ever got her name.
I don't know. Did I get her name? Did I see her addressed?
Tanuma, yes, I think Luthura.
Luthura referred to her by name as Tanuma.
Tanuma. Is that T apostrophe?
I don't think so.
Okay, Tanuma. I'm just gonna spell it.
It is phonetic.
Tanuma. And yeah, it smacked very strongly of the Joker breaking out like the fucking Riddler and getting together an anti-Justice League. She's amassing her posse.
I don't suppose that I know the name Tanuma.
I guess you give me a history check. What is the name of the Anti-Justice League? They have a name. Legion of Doom?
Legion of Doom sounds like something that Doctor Doom would be.
There's the Legion of Doom. There's also the Society of Evil.
Yeah, it was Legion of Doom is the one I was thinking of.
The Evil Friends.
Well, there is also the universe where the Justice League are the bad guys.
Ooh,
and they basically run the government.
Yeah, that's like Ultraman and
Owlman and the incredibly nervous, anxious version of the Flash, or is it Green Lantern? And that's where Wonder Woman got her invisible jet from, at least in some continuity from that universe. I don't remember how or why, but I do remember that happening. Good movie. Yeah, Ashal, you would pluck up your knowledge of magical theorems and would recognize that, well, considering technology, magic is of course a controversial thing. but I feel like Ashal would probably be in the opinion of all knowledge is worth consuming and owning and dominating. So Tanuma Bieris was Narashiro's lead, basically head artificer, which isn't really a role that existed before. Basically a super genius that invented a lot of things. Some things that were even of interest to Ebmara, because there was some biological engineering, which Ebmara does do done. That's how Ebmari make all of their technology. So there was, of course, interest in that.
That's
probably from a
how
spy.
Ebmari do.
The Ebmari babies are very small.
I love that guy.
And Lefura disappeared, you say, with Tanuma.
In a veritable puff of green, noxious, foul.
She teleported.
Shit. Yes.
Yes, I that was the supposition I reached.
And she had, I don't know if you know about this woman, she was quite, like, astounding looking. Lightning passing through these ports in her body, and she seemed close to breaking with our reality in her own mind. However, was salient and well spoken, extremely paranoid might not be the right word, but did not trust me or my motives, but a very smart person.
That would chime with my expectations. I know the name Tanuma. In context, it makes sense. This is curious. A curious development. Tanuma was sort of the lead of magical engineering in Narashiro. I believe under Lefura. That would be the best way to describe her. By all accounts, a genius. He had interest in even some of the biological engineering techniques that my people are more known as masters of. It does not. I did not recognize the description of lightning and ports on her body, but if she was, Lefura was killed, and most of her inner circle were removed one way or another, it chimes that she would suffer injuries because of that. In the long term, this raises questions and reminds us that
We have a deadline now.
it is hard to say we have a deadline when we don't know what Lefura is working towards.
Why wouldn't she be collecting more of these friends that... I mean, I don't know how many accomplices she had. I was in a cave for a long time.
I was not interested enough in politics to know.
Shite.
But what I can say is that this is not unexpected. We supposed that it is a mere matter of logic. Someone whose plans extend far enough for their revival as a fell lich after their death, they would not stand idly by, and I do not believe that any of us would expect them to. She is gathering power, presumably if she is released to Numa, presumably in the form of those loyal to her.
In that case, we must notify the authorities of all the settlements and make sure that this can be quashed before it gets out of hand. Shotgun being the newest iteration of Batwoman.
Look, I want to do a superhero game. Maybe after this.
The red-headed Batwoman with the
lesbian one.
The lesbian one.
Look, I know what you're looking for.
It's so cool.
I have been wanting to run a Mutants and Mastermind game for 2 years.
Let's do it.
Maybe after we're done here.
After you die.
After everyone dies. But yes, during all this, Botov will have been sighing and rummaging through his bag and just pull out a scroll that has what almost looks like a family tree, but then Oshun,
betraying us.
you would recognize that it's not a family tree, it's a very usurper elf thing of like an allegiance tree. It's essentially the same thing, but with not bloodlines. It's who's loyal to who, and what, and why, and
Just
where.
like,
Yeah, well, exactly. It looks like a jumbled mixture of cobwebs that Botov definitely didn't make. It is in, Elvish and whatnot. And he will say, well, this is exactly why we want Bogdan on the throne. With Bogdan on the throne,
Yes.
we can
Bogdan, get your
Lead.
butt on that cold chair.
you can deal with this lich, and I will be far away. But let us look at Lithura Donob's inner circle. She is this was her when she was more alive. This is the Mad Priestess, her second in command, still alive. Yes. Now a spider monster. Yes. This is the new one, and he would be like drawing on it in charcoal, which probably is like a little tense. Ocean. Like, this is Tanuma Bieris, the inventor. She was basically only loyal to her, so it makes sense that she has returned. Although there were rumors of her execution, so it seems that she's still alive. The rest of her inner circle also have such similar rumors. Hiraga the Firewalker, dead. This one can more be proven. I have heard reports from the front lines on skirmishes between the usurper elf camps and sun elves. Hiraga is dead. I need to look up their names now.
Is
The fact I got
Hiraga able to also come back as a lich or something like this? Do the dead stay dead with these people? I am very sensitive about the sanctity of death, I just recalled.
Such magics require great power. The return of
And great
Lefura.
responsibility.
The return of Lefura took the souls or life force of 1,000 Spiderkin.
also
It would not be
pre-preparation, I'd imagine.
Exactly, yes. It is not something to be used lightly. I would be surprised if anyone outside Lefura herself had such guarantees.
Fair enough.
It is not impossible, but probably not worth the time and effort if Lefura considers them even halfway expendable. Which, from what we know of her desires, I would imagine she considers them all expendable to one degree or another.
The Thuradoneb was a Daimao of the Usurper Elves. To get to that point, you need to understand who is worth keeping as a key to power and who is completely expendable. It is one of the core tenets of Usurper Elf and Narashira politics, and it makes it extremely bloody. But if you are useful and loyal, you will live, and seemingly, according to this, people will go to great lengths to keep you alive, which is extremely worrying. Now, here's the thing. If it takes such great power to return these people from the dead, do you think that they would have enough energy to continue using it, or would they merely use it on their leader S? I do not know. Anyway, allow me to show you this. Oh, I'm going to show you this map, but I need to configure the screen real quick. It's trying to
Here
show.
it comes. He
He says.
I'm
never
like,
thought
I
I'd be
have
seeing
it.
this again.
I have the asset. I might as well show it. I just need to
Yeah,
get.
show that asset.
I never thought I'd
Zoe.
be seeing this again. I thought I was done.
Filthy.
I thought I was done with this thing.
They keep trying to pull me in. They keep pulling me back in.
Oh, Tanuma's cute.
Well, she's probably less cute now. But
So
she's,
that's
well, I
Tanuma
say that,
before
that's
she got mauled by
Yes.
Indira the Storm. So the Tanuma
I
you
did
saw
not
has
spell it that
massive
way.
scars all over that are surging with electricity. But that is a Tanuma. So there's I'm pointing with my pen at my screen, and you better know what I'm pointing at. So of course there's Lithura at the top.
She's very cool.
Chelian.
Chelian Gore, and you can even ask that. It's like, Chelian Gore was the High Priestess. Logically, you would think the Mad Priestess was the High Priestess, and in many ways she was. But officially, Chelian Gore was the High Priestess, known to be a cavorter with fiends, leading to all sorts of demonic summoning within the ranks of the church. She is dead.
These bitches look like people I want to be friends with.
Well,
No,
Ocean would have been. Maybe in another life. Maybe in an alternate universe.
Evil Oshun believes all deserve the blessing of death.
I mean, we should probably write that.
She'd probably like cry, but be like,
She'd be conflicted,
darkness.
but loyal.
No, I don't think she'd be conflicted. I think she'd just be like, embrace the void.
There is actually a usurper elf spell which causes you to cry when you cast it.
Oh,
So-
yes.
Black tears, yeah. So Chelian Gore is reportedly dead, and Bortov will even say, if anything, Ashal, I imagine those who consort with demons do not exactly have an easy job in the afterlife. Would you agree?
I would agree. Her soul is no doubt, if not undergoing torture, at least being put to work in some plane somewhere.
In insurance policy.
You only say that because you know that the first circle of hell is basically customs. And yeah, so he'll point. So there's also Haraga there. He talked about Haraga, who was on the front lines. So it's not really clear if they died to this devil in gold who assassinated most of them, or the Sun Elves themselves.
Every time you say devil and gold, I'm just like, really? That bitch?
This is our entire campaign. We spent a campaign chasing these bastards.
Yes, this is Jarviskjir Mother's Love. The other one that we haven't gone over is the War Strider. The War Strider was a Drider who had their carapace infused with adamantium.
The War Strider murdered Serena, like straight up. But Serena, the War Strider had 3 hits. Serena took a hit, went down. War Strider used her following 2 attacks to give her 2 points of death.
Was the War Strider the one you fought in the arena?
Yeah.
I was trying to remember whether you fought her in the arena or the factories. The War Strider, Bodov will explain that the War Strider ran a lot of the factories in Narashiro. It is the reason why they have... Those industries have stumbled. It's actually the reason why the Weavers left Narashiro. The working class, as they say. With the War Strider gone, they have gone to find incredibly other pastures, including working for the Treaty of the Deep as all kinds of warriors.
So she has 2 of these main 5 of all of them. Wait, including her.
Including her. Now, there would be other people I would consider on this map. The current leader of Narashiro, Commander Kato, was loyal to Lithura, but now she is in charge of Narashiro, yes? As Daimao.
You've seen it before.
I would imagine that if Lithura is breaking prisoners out of an ostensibly allied nation's prison, she is probably no longer aligned with the politics of Narashiro.
Oh lord, what's happened to Narashiro? I hope Cinnabelle writes back quickly.
Can you not contact her instantly via magic?
Yes, I suppose I can. I will do that thing.
Do you remember her runes?
I didn't actually hear what you said.
Yes!
Her rose or
Her runes.
Her
Do you remember her runes?
Oh.
Have it in your Rolodex?
Very funny. She actually has a BlackBerry.
She would, and I don't like that. But at least she doesn't have an iPhone.
Yep.
Lithura
Lithura would have an iPhone.
would have a, like, weird, like, backlocked, like, Raspberry Pi Linux system thing, you know? That I don't understand. So, yeah, you can real quick just send a message. If you just want to real quick send a quick sending to Cinnabelle, you can.
I will.
You have 25 words.
Yes.
And they can send instantly to someone you know. So you could actually even send messages to Commander Kato or Voss or Lithura. You just have enough. That is true. Well, I don't know if you'd be able to send it because you barely saw Lithura. You could definitely send a message to the Mad Priestess.
Lithura, hey bitch, what's up? Just saw you breaking out your friend, asking how.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess you did just literally see her. Yeah, true.
I just call Tanuma and just go,
What? Bitch! What? 25 times.
Just had an agreement.
You literally could do that. Sending is a very useful spell for your job as, like, question asker.
Question asker.
It sounds a lot better in
No,
Dwarven.
you have one. You use a 3rd level on Cure Wounds.
I marked that down. I pressed the arrow down.
You shouldn't have had 3 spells to begin with then.
Yeah, you should only have 2 3rd level spells right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I probably looked at the wrong number. Okay, I do have one. I'm going to contact Cinnabon.
Sure, what do you say? 25 words or less. Ian will keep count.
Oh, okay.
But it does count ahs. Well, you can choose when to start, but once you've started, anything that just tumbles out is in the message.
Like Nyan.
I'm surprised Ian hasn't played Ian has played a Tabaxi, but not a Tabaxi that goes Nyan. Not yet.
You know,
actually, that's not true. We played Macomb. That's actually not true.
my Kitsune and Macomb didn't go Nyan.
No, but good, close enough. Good character, though.
Now, apologize to Xylemos for this atrocious entrance.
Nyan.
No! But we should, like, have, like, one of those huge Japanese paw gloves.
Oh god, those
you should have those. That is, I don't know why you don't. 25 words or less. Without hesitation, repetition.
Just seen Lithura break out Tanuma. How is it in Narashiro?
Fucking counts. No, it counts. Fucking absolutely counts.
Okay.
You could whisper it under your breath, but sending sends all.
No. I need to sleep before.
Why don't you just say, "I bitch, what you do"? Send.
Yeah, you don't need to send more. I mean, that's the message. If you want to just leave it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Are you going to ask about how Narashiro? Oh, you
just did. Just did.
Yeah, sure.
She said, "How's Narashiro fucking?" and sent it.
You hope. Let's hope you don't catch Cinnabelle at work.
This is my work phone. Oh shoot.
Look, other characters have got in trouble using sending it to people when they're busy. So.
Yeah, it's just like, how is Narashiro fucking?
yeah, exactly. It's canon. It's in universe. You do feel the message sort of connect. And now I need to keep count of my own words. Darling, everything's fine. There's no issue at all. In fact, things have been quite boring. Although, the Commander Kato has been asking when you'll be back.
Oh.
Love. 25.
Aww. Well, okay. The comment, I relay this and I say the comment of boring indicates that she was not, in fact, held at hostage point. Otherwise, she would have, like, we have an agreed SOS blink sort of like message.
As I said, Lefura would not attack an ally if she was in any sort of position of power in Narashira.
Who's Kato again?
Current Daimao.
Current Daimao, you met her briefly. You were like, we should have a talk about the what's happening in the city, and she was like, who are you? Sure. But you're like, take it to my office, and then nothing came of it. Yeah, you've only briefly met her at functions at the church and your wedding.
Yes. I really want to roleplay what it would be like to call Lethura. Be like, what's up, motherfucker?
No spells left today, you can't do that.
You can, but you also know she can teleport. So
Fuck!
maybe you don't want to poke that bear.
I don't know. Could be a fun way to begin the session.
Yeah.
It would be really fucking funny.
This episode will be called Tea Time with the Lich.
Yeah.
She has done that before.
In the long term, I believe this only confirms what we knew, that Lefura is gathering power, presumably to try and destroy the surface again or
And
some
that
such.
people who are under my protection are safe. Kind of is also important. Kacha'al, please, would you mind updating our patroness of the situation? Claps all spider legs.
That can be done. My understanding, though, is unless... Well, my understanding of organic and egotistical beings is unless they have been wronged, they have very little reason to... Unless Lethura considers herself wronged by Narashiro as a whole, she would be unlikely to consider it an antagonist.
Oh, well, putting aside the fact that you yourself are a squishy girl, like the rest of us, it is not that Narashiro would necessarily be in danger, but the fact that a retaking of power from an old daimyo, civil unrest can be quite precarious.
There is all manner of things that Lethura could do to the city, completely unnoticed by those within the city and us far away.
Cinnabelle is usually good at that kind of thing.
Even irrelevant to the fate of Narashiro itself, I do not believe that Lefura's plans are good for... Well, I do not know enough of them, but it's easy to surmise they are not good for the Underrealm as a whole. But I do not think that, and I apologize, I do not mean to seem short, I do not think that this changes our course.
Everyone is short to me.
It is a reminder that Lefura is working, pursuing her path, which we assumed. In the short term, what this brings us benefit. In the short term, the king, who has just made an incredibly large point in public about holding a prisoner for attacks on the Mechanist district, and that prisoner has just been stolen out from under him the very same day. This will destabilize him if we use the rumors correctly.
Yes.
Yes, it seems that the Lich did our job for us. This whole circumstance we had hoped to discredit Scargain, and it happened without our intervention. I call it a win, considering that you and Catchall are both safe.
Yes, still alive. who are these people who killed Lithura and one of her inner circle before? Why don't we just recruit them and have them do it again?
How much would we know about that, Ollie? I thought that might be the case.
Oh, I'm muted. History checks.
You muted yourself.
I
like,
muted.
your
I
own
muted, but
swear.
somehow Ian was like, "Yes, I know exactly what that means."
It's because
I thought you said fuck all. That's what I thought you said.
No,
Or
it's
jack
history
shit,
check.
yeah. Because I guess I might know the name, the Golden Devil, but I wouldn't imagine Ashar would probably know much beyond that, not being interested.
Well, the
Oshun
townsman
might
was
know.
Oshun might know if Oshun wants to roll.
Yeah.
Bogdan
Is
reads
that
the
a history
news.
roll?
History, yeah.
Bogdan reads. Yeah.
Yeah,
It feels-
that does kind of make sense, actually, that Bogdan, in a weird way, because this is all disconnected and interesting and important if you want to be king. Yeah, you would know that according to all... well, first of all, according to Narashiro, the murderers from the surface were executed. But that was just a farce. That was to calm down the city while they actually hunted for the murderers themselves. There was an execution, just it was different people.
Oh.
Yep.
We had to hold ourselves back from intervening on that because we watched it.
That's so mean.
Well, you know,
Why'd you do that?
they
a
are
trap.
dark elves.
Aw.
The prevailing theory, of course, this is something not known, is that... So there are multiple theories. Basically, Lithura Dorneb died when the High District of Narashiro, which was on the ceiling of the cavern above the city, it wasn't connected, exploded due to a extreme amount of Aether Crystal being stored there, either caused by Lithura herself or the murderers, the Devil in Gold and their compatriots that you would vaguely, you'd like remember probably the wanted posters or the posters of the execution and like, come see the execution.
Bring your kids. Bring your wife.
Bring your wives. The theory is that the Devil in Gold managed to get into the High City and either caused the explosion or Lithura caused the explosion. Either way, all dead. Everyone in the High City was dead. The explosion is huge. How huge? The Aether Storm above Narashiro has completely consumed the area. That is, if there was any remains or even anyone surviving, they would be in the storm. Now, Bogdan being a slightly magical person might just kind of read some theories. It was like, theoretically, people could survive. Theoretically. But logically, everyone was completely obliterated. Lithura didn't have a body to resurrect to. That's why she's made of shadow now. And seemingly ash, which doesn't quite make sense. But yeah. Basically, the Devil in Gold and Lithura and the Mad Priestess, but the Mad Priestess clearly left the city before it happened, all died in the Aether explosion. The Aether Storm is now in its place. There are lots of people who want to explore the storm for many reasons.
The Devil in Gold and his companions that killed Lithura likely died in the explosion with her. Moreover, they were from the surface, so it wouldn't be much of a worthwhile expedition to go hunt them down.
I wonder if I could love someone from the surface.
You would know, Bogdan, that the Devil in Gold was a Sun Elf. The Sun Elves are a race of monstrous elves from the surface that are still trying to kind of push their way down. Apparently there was some talks of some kind of peace agreements that obviously Narashiro was not interested in, and there is spatterings of wars and battles in the caverns between the surface Elvish lands and Narashiro. There's basically, I might even be on this map, there's basically a tunnel. Yeah, there's a tunneling area between the two, and Sun Elves are there, fighting a war, on and off. So it is theoretically possible that you could meet the faction that the Devil in Gold was a part of.
Consorting with Sun Elves would be treasonous.
Even assuming that it would not only be treasonous, moreover, it would be foolish.
A waste of time.
It would lose us the trust of those in the Underrealm, even if we could gain the trust of that faction. And I do not think it would be a good idea either way.
I wonder what they know.
This is one of the things that Tanuma Bieris had clones. It is rumored that one of the clones was consorting with Sun Elves.
Goodness. What happened to that clone?
Well, let us return to the matter at hand.
Yes, of course.
The Stillers.
Let's get you on that big stone cushion.
The Blackjaw.
It is not
Yes.
cushioned.
Oh, Lord. Make sure that's one of the changes you make when you're in power.
It's
Comic.
the second time you've told me what to do with my power.
You must have cushions, Bogdan! Cushions!
The Stillers. We need their support.
Yes. Let's go.
Once we have the support of the Stillers, or if an opportunity presents itself, we must deal with Uberrock, Scarhane's
I'm
druid.
dead on my feet.
Well,
I'm
go
out
go
of
rest.
spells.
We
Yes.
can hit this in the morning.
Okay. I need a long rest.
Yeah, you can go and have a long rest while the others scheme.
36. Nice. Alright.
We want to go to the distillery district and kind of poke around, see what needs to be seen. Okay. Which NPC are you taking,
Choose your fighter.
if any?
I like my many-ratted friend.
I think in terms of usefulness for poking around, though, Botov might be a better idea if we haven't got him assigned elsewhere.
Yeah. We'll bring Botov.
Swap out
Excellent.
Cat-Chow. Strap a baby to my chest.
Cool. The baby's going to Beer District? Hell yeah. Let's go. The Stillers District is actually kind of as far away as anywhere can be to Bogdan's house in the city. Not completely. There are areas that almost go around the curve to the west, called the West Gate, which literally ends up becoming a large gate that blocks the Narashiro side from the Abanir side. But it's pretty far. You've gotten close when exploring the crafters districts and stuff, and the distillery district is always kind of visible because of big old pipes and big old stills and things, massive ones. Some of the pipes leading directly to other districts, either as runoff or whiskey delivery, basically. And that is mostly what the distillery district makes. As you enter it, you see the kind of red brick stone buildings. You know when you enter a particularly hipstery town that's had a bit of revival, there's lots of like beer tasting places and things like that? It's kind of that at first.
Oh god, hipster dwarfs, what do they look like?
Well, these are largely craft dwarves, so they are hairless and wear metal beards.
That is intensely...
Some of the distillers would wear glass beards, actually, of different colours. Yeah.
Are they those cool blown ones with like the spirals?
Some of them. Depends how...
Do they wear flannel?
Ooh. Well, if I say yes, flannel is canon. I don't know if I want to do that.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But there's definitely
Oh,
a
no,
vibe
we all
in the
noticed.
Still District. Because this is one of the richer parts of the city as well. Because it's very important. Everyone drinks. But there's also another thing you notice. And you noticed it when you were passing by before. There is a smell. And it's not the smell that Bogdan would remember as a wee dwarfling heading to the distillery district on a school trip. The smell of beer and whiskey and all sorts of ales.
The Cadbury's.
That's what foreigners call lunch.
Yeah. The smell is decidedly more sewagey. Smelling more like pipes and drains under this district are clogged and backing up or something. It might be the rain.
God.
It is raining. And the rain, obviously, Abernir is designed for the rain. It all kind of drains and moves and creates a whole crazy noise as water rushes through the city. But it's noticeable. And other people have clearly noticed it too, because at this point there are, like, in the storefronts and the stalls, there are, you know, incense burning, there's smoke, there's everything to cover up the smell. So it's clearly been around for a while.
I detect the odor of the problem we need to solve for these.
I don't have a nose. Yay!
The malaise here is indeed readily apparent.
Oh no, I taste it. No.
Right. Well, let's find the largest stillers guild? Question mark?
Yeah,
Guild.
guild, union, something like that.
Yeah.
Unionize.
This would not be hard to do. Like a lot of districts here, everything's really joined in Abernir. If it's not, there's a specific reason for it. But the state encourages everyone working together. So you can eventually find your way to one of the larger stilling factories where the smell is much stronger near it and inside it.
As we're moving, can I try and get a feel, listen out for the mood of the people here, and
Yeah, you can
particularly in
insight roll.
relation to Scarhain, because I imagine that there's a lot of talk about Scarhain at the moment. Well, it's perfectly average.
People are busy working. We don't have time for politics.
Yeah.
And politics in this city is king? Yes. There is.
We have a politic.
Yeah, there's no
Noted.
parties or systems. There's king and foreigners, and that's like it. So it's basically England.
I was going to say what
I
Bojo
was
wishes it
thinking the
was.
same thing.
Ignore that. The large factory core in the center of the distilling district. This would be the distribution center, right? Where it's most important. This is where Plump Helmet Ale is being put into big old kegs, either wooden ones or metal ones. The whiskey tends to go in metal ones because there's also they're making whiskey and also other spirits. But it's mostly the ale, which counts as a meal legally, and the whiskey, and it's being labeled and it's being sent off. And there's just a whole bunch of people working here, just a whole bunch of dwarves working. There are also things being like sent up into the pipes. The pipes are labeled as well of where they're going, and they go overhead, underhead. So there would be, I'm not going to find it, but just the constant sound of frothing, moving beer in this factory, and the grumbling of 1,000 dwarves working. They might love their work, but it's still work. Because it's distribution center, you can kind of be like, I'm here to help the problem, and or even just wander around for a bit, and eventually you'll get a meeting with the speaker for the Stillers. They are a dwarf named Thesnion. They are actually a law-keeping dwarf, not a craft dwarf. But they the kind of like almost ritualistic glasses they wear are more. It's more like a welder's goggles situation. And they have a kind of quite short orangish beard. It's almost like they're not wearing it too long to not be out of place amongst the craft dwarves who don't have natural beards, stuff like that. They would kind of be they would meet with you in amongst all of the chaos of the distribution center. And they would kind of rub a little kind of salve under their nose, and well, it does help the problem. Yeah, is that what you're interested in?
That's correct.
That would be grand.
It seems it has gone neglected for some time.
Well, we have done everything we could. We have sent our own people down there.
What became of them? I apologize. Carry on.
Well, they haven't come back, usually.
Oh.
Let me clarify. I'm kind of will walk with you towards where
Talk with me.
Yeah, but it's dwarven, so it's slower. And this guy is a little round. I mean, he works in the beer factory. Anyone with a technical mind would notice this is where more of the runoff goes to, either from the production facilities or whatever. Like, despite the smell, it is not the case of an open sewer or blocked sewers. This is the factory runoff the smell is coming from. During the rainy season, it can get a little fetid, but mostly due to the smells of the rains and blockages and things, and there are inevitably creatures that find their way into such places. But now, there is this foul, diseased miasma coming from the runoff, and anyone we send down to work on it has not been able to come up, and the government does not have any sort of team that can help with such a thing. So it has just sort of been something we've had to deal with. The runoff still runs off. It's not like we have a blockage. We do not know exactly what to do. We have tried throwing explosives down there, and that didn't seem to do anything.
That's what I was going to suggest first.
Yeah, well, of course, it was the third plan we had. A particularly explosive accidental brew of our most amber ale rum. We heard it boom, but the smell still remained.
You would think, with the government having a military force of creatures without olfactory senses, that they would have sent something into this pit. But once again,
well, I do not imagine they want to send their brand new automata into a wet tunnel, a dirty wet tunnel. I imagine they do not want to get them dirty.
well, then it falls to...
Opposable thumbs.
What? It falls to nobler folk.
It
My
has
company and
always
I-
been the assistance of nobles who have always helped out with the sewer problems, yes.
Yes. My company and I just came from the Ostian's Bounty, where we slew a conniving giant.
Oh! You don't think there's a giant in the pipes, do you?
I doubt it. But some foul odor, perhaps a nest of something wretched and killable.
Well, if it can be killed, I would greatly appreciate if you could kill it. And of course, there would be many kegs sent to your home as a reward.
write that out for the Blackjaw.
The Blackjaw already has a pipe going to it from this factory. Multiple.
Bogdan just surreptitiously spits in that pipe.
You know, there's a lot of things Bogdan would do to overthrow the usurper, but spoil booze? Never.
Never.
Let's see
No,
what
but the
Ashar can
idea,
drop in a pipe.
the idea of like when no one's around, which never happens, like opening up the pipe that goes to the king's palace and like pissing in it is pretty funny.
We should all just do that afterwards.
All right. Objective: survive. Okay.
What was your name? Sorry again, sir.
Thesnion.
Oh,
Thesnion,
Thesnion.
obviously.
Is there a system that, like this, it's quite ingenious and goes to noble houses and around this whole city? Is there not a sort of... Would this not also be a good system to wrap up messages and put them in and have them delivered all about the city?
What would be so important in these messages? My lady, these deliver beer!
You up? Parents not home, come over.
These pipes were ordained by the voice in ages far beyond us.
No kidding.
Yes, it was a great day when the voice laid pipe in our city.
Oh, shit, isn't pregnant yet. That's not relevant. Again.
Soon.
Do you have any apparatus or mechanism that we could strap to our faces to prevent us from smelling anything? That would be
Well, you have a beard, but,
It's true, it does act as a nature's filter, they say.
that's literally part of the reason why you guys have poison resistance. It does.
Jarviskjir logic,
Yeah. What? Real logic.
Yeah.
Coal miners wore big beards.
Yes, that is
often.
true.
No.
We've had this discussion, Zoe.
Yeah, it's air filters.
I don't
you know?
remember.
Every 3 months you have to shave it off and grow a new one.
Well, I mean, logically. You don't want to keep all that guck in there. But he
like
will...
that-
The
Now,
Thesian will
Ian, the
kind of...
peanut butter.
He will complain, and he will hand the like salve he has in his hand to, I guess, Ocean. Like, this assists with the smell. I do not think we have anything that would garner more deliberate protection. That would mean admitting that we have a problem. We will not have a problem soon, I hope.
Alright.
Probably hand the thing back and be like, I don't think I have a nose.
Well, this is the access to the smell.
Yeah, he will kind of pull a lever, and it will go.
Oh, lever! Wrong lever!
This big hatch will open up, and you can immediately hear the rushing of water. And it opens up into a dark area where this hatch would be, if this room, where a lot of the runoff pipes go, breached in any way, all the water would rush down this way. So at the bottom is another drain, and then it kind of leads into maintenance tunnels and things.
Is the smell already noticeably stronger?
I mean, there were holes in the hatch, but yeah, I mean you can
Right.
almost see the vapors.
Before we
Gandalf
go
quote.
down, I am going to twin spell and enhance ability for Constitution on myself and Ocean.
Oh, nice, thank you.
I think that does actually give some temporary hit points as well, so we're about this.
Ooh. Ollie, I've got to ask, why you gotta remind me about fixing my drain again?
I have to fix my drain all the time, so I put I put it into my art. And also, every campaign needs a sewer encounter.
Sewer sequence?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's necessary.
Is that
So
Or
there is a
a
little
good
ladder.
cistern run.
Yeah, something close to a sewer. This isn't
Underground
a
and
sewer,
wet,
clearly.
yeah.
This is a beer factory runoff. Very different.
Yeah. Well, allow me a moment to confer with my colleagues, and we shall delve.
Do a Lord of the Rings lean in?
If you lean in, you get a face full of thick air.
Rather than leaning in, you just get the telepathic link.
Oh, sure. Am I going to get stuck? I can't get stuck
Oh,
in a
this-
sewer.
This pipe is easily big enough for you, but who knows about the other ones? The ladder is a bit too small, which is awkward.
Oshun just steps down.
Oshun, are we telepathically linked?
Yeah.
Yes, I would have linked everyone.
Okay, and now I have a question. This is my character would know this. Is the baby with us?
Oh, shit.
Explicitly, the baby is with you. Although you still have Botov, you could make Botov babysit.
Oshun, I'm not sure.
The
You wanna
baby
be
is
splashing
reaching for
around
one of the beer pipes.
No! I take him with me.
Why'd you say
everywhere.
no? Surely
Yeah,
the child's old
good.
enough for beer.
We are good.
I've noticed that in Narashiro, the babies are always crying. We just use whiskey.
We have whiskey imbued pacifiers made in this
Yeah.
factory.
Oh my god.
I'm sure we could get some for assisting.
Most of these pipes go to nurseries.
That's so funny. Oh my god. I learned to smoke a pipe when I was 15.
What else are you using your hands for?
So funny. Oh my god.
We did have an old woman at a baby shower tell us to do that. And we were like, oh yeah, sure. We're not going to do that.
It was surprisingly common back in the day.
Yeah, and look where it got us.
Did you really? Like,
Have an old woman tell us to put
7
whiskey on our
years
baby's
ago?
gums? Yes, we had that.
Five.
I live in the South.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that explains some things about the South.
Yeah, we're all very drunk. Yeah, so I don't know.
What are
if
you going to do about the baby? Do you want
What are
to
you
take
going to
the-
do about the baby?
I'm going to take a little bit of cloth and wrap it around my baby's face.
That is always advisable, safe, and FDA approved.
Why did I bring you?
The baby throws up slightly into the cloth, which does protect
Nice.
you because you were holding it up.
Probably smells better than the runoff.
How do I get this? Okay, retcon the child.
No, you can't
fucking
retcon.
rat.
You were very
Yes.
specific about taking
Hang
the
on,
baby.
hang on.
Rat mom.
We
He's with
know
rat
some.
mom.
We know someone who can teleport. Let's ask Lathora to watch the kid.
Just send a message to LoFiJoe,
Can
you come get my
watch
baby.
The baby of Ibrith, please, for 5 seconds. I just need
Just
support.
have Bottom take the baby back home.
We need the bottle.
We probably
You
don't.
need the baby not to be in a dungeon. It's not even a year old. You don't take.
It's
You're
gonna
gonna
learn
put
to
it in.
fight at some point.
Yeah, but what about the stinky?
the
He'll
thing
get
that can
dysentery.
probably kill us.
Alright, after some silence, the Fezian is just gonna like watch us all silently stand and then hand the baby to Bottom.
Okay, little baby.
Thank you, Bottom. Please come back.
Yes, I will make haste, but not too
Thank
much
you.
haste, because this baby is extremely gurgly.
Gonna pull on the beard.
Yeah, he put the baby on the shoulder. He knows it. Well, it's not necessarily a good way to hold a baby, but he ain't getting pulled on. And he's gonna unenthusiastically start heading back home.
Thank you, Bottle.
Now that that's solved, what's our plan?
We have very little information. I would suggest that our best option is simply to go in and see what we find. It may well be an infestation, as you said.
I'd like to request being in the middle, as I do not currently have the most fantastic night vision. I'm missing about 4 eyes.
I am working on that, but yes.
Oh, sweetheart.
All right, let's go. That spell you cast doesn't last forever.
No.
Is there? There's a Ollie. Is there a ladder?
There is a ladder.
Bogdan will lead.
Okay, you can drop down into the stinky, stinky sewer. And we're going to take a little break. So that I can go to the stinky, stinky sewer. Be back in a bit.
I'm gonna make some night toast.
What?